Hi, little yarnivores and spiderettes. Fiber Spider back again with another tutorial just for you. Now, today I have got something really special for you guys to go along with the corner to corner craze. Now, we've done the scarf and we've done all sorts of stuff. Well, here we go. We have another one for you. This is a corner to corner join as you go gingham blanket, which you could also use it as a great stash buster and do a patchwork blanket. Not all of the squares have to be all matchy-matchy like I did here. But this is fabulous because you don't have to deal with all those little bobbins and things when you're trying to, change colors and so forth. Now you're making each square individually that is attached to another square as you make it. Sort of like when you do the join as you go granny squares, which is a technique that I couldn't live without, believe you me. And so I fell in love with this technique and I couldn't wait to share it with you guys, but I wanted to make some progress first on this blanket. Now, as you can see, basically you have two kinds of rows. You have well, off-white and a light blue, alternating back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then you have like a dark blue and a light blue alternating back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And basically that is if you wanted to do a gingham style, and you can, use the intro outro picture for reference. Now, by all means, you can go crazy. You can use whatever yarn you want. The only thing that I would definitely put a stress point on is if you're going to use different colors and so forth, or even different brands of yarn, I would say make them all the same weight of yarn. Otherwise, some squares are going to be bigger, some squares are going to be smaller. So be sure that the weight of your yarn is consistent, and that will make sure that the way that your squares fit together will also be consistent. All right. Other than that, we'll be good to go. Now, for this particular piece that I'm still working on, actually, I used a size I 5.5 millimeter hook, and this is all Red Heart Super Saver. So you don't have to worry about dye lots. By the way, not sponsored. You don't have to worry about dye lots. So if you run out, you're good. You can just get another skein of the same thing, which is really good because I did not realize that doing this gingham, this is a point to keep in mind. If you're doing a gingham on every row, every other square is like one of these light blue squares. So you're using a lot more of the light blue than the off-white or the dark blue. Keep that in mind. So you are going to need more of one of the three colors that you get. Point to keep in mind, and that's something that I learned the hard way. But I'm glad that I used Red Heart Super Saver because, like I said, no dye lots. So that was convenient. So without further ado, we'll get started with our tutorial, and I'm going to do it in several parts because I want to be thorough. Now, like I said, I used a size I 5.5 for this piece. Now, for the demonstration, for the tutorial, I'm going to be using Pound of Love by Lion Brand, not sponsored, and I'm going to be using the same size hook so that you can see the stitches better. Alrighty, so without further ado, let's get started. Alrighty, so now for the beginning of this tutorial, I am going to show you how to do the corner to corner style of stitch. Now, if you've seen this already, you can skip, I won't take it personally, but, for those of you that haven't, well, here you are. It's one-stop shopping. All right, so start with a slip knot, and then start off with a chaining of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then into the 4th chain from the hook, do a double crochet. Like so. And then 2 more double crochets in the remaining 2 chains. That's 1 and 2. All right, and that is our first little block. Now, the squares are composed of these little blocks, both height and width. Now, I did a little bit of experimenting. An odd number does not work. So you really need an even number. And I'm going to show you what I mean really quick here, because for this piece, I have 6 wide by 6 tall. Now, the reason why you need an even number is because when you're joining up the next square, see, these go in a horizontal fashion and these go in a vertical fashion. That is crucial to the join as you go method for this particular project. So with that in mind, you can make these squares whatever size you want, as long as it's an even number of blocks. Little point, another stress point to keep in mind. All right, so from here, we need to build upwards. So that's another chaining up of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Once again, going into the 4th chain from the hook with a double crochet. And then into the next 2 chains, double crochet. There we are. And then turn your little bottom square there. And into this loop, into this space, slip stitch. Like so. And then we need to do double crochets into this space. So going to chain up 3, 1, 2, 3, and then 3 double crochets into this space. That's 1, and 2, and 3. All right, so we've got our first 2 rows, if you will, of our corner to corner. Now, for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to do 4 blocks in each direction, and then I'll show you how to decrease. All right, so let's continue on. All right, so to continue on to the 3rd row, chain up 6, because again, we have to build upwards. So chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, doing a double crochet into the 4th chain from the hook, and then a double crochet into each of the next 2 chains. This will become like second nature to you after a while. All right, so we've got our, technically speaking, 4 double crochets. Then we flip the work, slip stitch into this space here to lock it in place, chain up 3, 1, 2, 3, then 3 more double crochets into that same space, 1, 2, and 3, then slip stitch into the space of this block to lock that in place, then chain 3 up again, 1, 2, 3, and then 3 double crochets into this space, and 1, and 2, and 3. All right, so then to do our last increase row, chain up 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, double crochet into the 4th chain from the hook and into the next 2 chains for a total of 4 double crochets. Now, what I was saying before about how you don't need to do bobbins and so forth, that would be if you're doing like a planogram, corner to corner. And that's a great technique, don't get me wrong, but you end up with all of these stragglies, as you're trying to work. All right, again, turn the work and slip stitch into this loop. Now, the only thing that I don't like about this particular project, and I think the only thing, is that for every square that you make, you have two ends that you need to sew in. Yeah. It's kind of the bane of my existence, but if you sew them in as you go, say you do like, 5 squares and then sew in the ends and then do 5 more squares and then sew in the ends, it's a lot more bearable. Trust me. Okay, so we did our slip stitch, and then we chain up 3, 1, 2, 3, then 3 double crochets into the same space, 1 and 2 and 3, slip stitch into that loop of the next block, chain up 3, 1, 2, 3, 3 more double crochets into this space, 1, 2, and whoop, whoop, whoop. I need one more. Don't fuss with me. Okay, there we go. So we've got a total of 4. Then slip stitch into this top space here, like so. And then chain up 3, 1, 2, 3, then 3 double crochets into this space. So 1 and 2 and 3. Okay, so we've got our 4 by 4 as far as the blocks go. So now we are going to start with the decreasing of the square. Alrighty, we shall proceed. Okay. All right, so to do the decreasing for the corner to corner, we're not going to do another chaining up of 6 to keep going up. What we're going to do is actually a chaining of 3. 1, 2, 3, turn the work, and do a slip stitch into this space here, like so. That way it's not going to keep going up, 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 as it had been. And then chain up 3, 1, 2, 3, and then 3 double crochets into this space, 1 and 2 and 3, slip stitch into this next space at the top of the block, chain up 3, 1, 2, 3, 3 double crochets into this space, 1 and 2 and 3, slip stitch into the top space of the next block, chain 3, 3 double crochets into this space, 1 and 2 and 3, and then slip stitch into the space of this block. However, because we have the 1, 2, 3, 4 blocks that we need, we don't want to keep going up. If we wanted to keep going up, we would chain up 3, do 3 double crochets into this space, and that would continue our blocks up that way, but we don't want to do that. Nope. So what we're going to do from here is chain 3 and not go into this space. No, we're going to turn the work and slip stitch into the top of this space right here. Like so. See, right now we have these 2 blocks here and these 2 blocks here. So we just need to fill in 1, 2, and 3 more blocks there. We're getting there. All right, so now chain up 3, 1, 2, 3, and 3 double crochets into this space. That's 1, 2, 3, slip stitch into the space of, I want to say loop, but it's a space right here. Right here, slip stitch, and then chain up 3 again. 1, 2, 3. 3 double crochets into this space. 1, 2, and 3. Last but not least, slip stitch into the top of this block. All right, we just have 1 more block to go, and then we'll be done. So chain 3, 1, 2, 3, turn the work, slip stitch into the top here to this space. We need to create just that 1 more block. So chain up 3, 1, 2, 3, then 3 double crochets into this space. 1 and 2 and 3. Then slip stitch into the top of this space, this block here. And so now we have our 4 by 4 square. Perfect. Now you want, at least this is my opinion, you want to end up in this corner here, not over here. So to do that, very, very simple. Just chain 3, 1, 2, 3, turn the work, and then do a slip stitch into the space right here. Ta-da! And that is your first square. Yeah. So then you would cut your yarn, pull out your end, and you are good to go. Now, what you want to keep in mind is that, yes, there is a right side and wrong side to this piece. And we are starting in the lower right-hand corner of your blanket or whatever project you're doing. You're starting in that corner, and we're going to be working to the left. And then after we work to the left for however long you want to do, you would then create a second tier. So I'm going to show you how to create that second tier and how to go to the left on the second tier so that you can do the join as you go method, for as long as your little heart desires. And so with that being said, this is, like I said, the first part of the tutorial. There will be more in store, don't you worry, but I just really wanted to be thorough by showing you, the basics if you weren't familiar with them, because I didn't want to skip around, etc., etc. But this is the foundation of what you need. So start with one of these squares. Again, make sure that however big it is, that it is an even number of blocks. And you want it to be square. You could probably experiment with rectangles, but for all intents and purposes, I would say go with a square. All right, so listen, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If so, give me a little thumbs up button down below because I appreciate your appreciation. Also, hit subscribe, please like, please comment, and stay tuned for the next part of this project. All right, see you real soon. Stay inspired, stay caffeinated, stay stitching. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.